Hey guys, I'm Azra, and in this Lord of the Rings Rise to War video, I'm going to show you a guide about Yusraa. In my Evil Commanders tier list, I have ranked her very high, right after Sunind, and in this video I would like to explain why I hold her in so high regards. So let's get started. Yusraa is a warrior commander, which is a bit misleading. I think leader would have been much better, though she is doing a little bit of both. Doing some commander damage, but not quite right. Leader would have been much better. And she also provides lots of army damage because of her Respect 10 item. And that's the point. You need her Respect 10 item to make Yusraa work. Only then is she among the strongest evil side commanders. In this case, well, I got that weapon, which is why this guide is overdue. So, stats wise, her strongest stat is going to be her might stat. The more might, well, obviously the more damage you are going to deal, so focus on this first. Her second stat looks like focus because this is the second highest, but don't be misguided. She doesn't have any skills that scale with focus, so this is your last option. But in contrast to that, speed stat is actually important. One of her main mechanics, her Respect 5 title to be specific, scales with speed, and you want to have as much as you can, so this is your second important stat for Yusraa. Right now I got this gear with her, as you see, her Respect 10 item. This is what makes her so strong. I have only refined it 3 times, and this is going to bite me, because only when you have refined it 4 times are you going to feel how strong Yusraa is. But I still wanted to push this video out. I couldn't 4-time refine it, and here we are. But keep in mind, Yusraa is going to be a lot stronger than what you are about to see in this video. Just 3 times refined, at least with 4 stars refined, she's going to be a beast. Then I have the Scout's Mail with Deafness. This is going to scale her Respect 5 title. This is also very important in her arsenal. And one of her main helmets is going to be the Bone Mask with Hysteria, and I argue that this is even better than any other golden helmet for her, but we will get to that part later. And then I have the Drums of Moria plus attack, like overall very good stats, and also Bane of Dwarfs. You can't complain about that item. So let's talk about her skills. I'm going to go quickly over the skills. Let's start with the bottom ones. I think we don't have to further explain anything about this. The bottom skills are just something that needs to be reworked. This has no value in combat whatsoever. Like, I'm strongly for reworking the bottom Respect 0 skills. This is useless in combat. In contrast to her bottom Respect 0 title, now at the top we have something more useful. Even though she isn't a damage dealing commander, she's going to provide a bit damage with Experienced Warrior. This just increases her normal attack damage, and maxed out also plus 10% more damage against melee units. This counts only for herself. This doesn't mean her army gets 10% increased damage against melee units. At the top we have Hunt Down. This is applying a debuff against one enemy target, and it's going to increase the damage enemy target receives by a certain percentage. It scales with Might, which is great. It lasts for 2 rounds and it can stack up 2 times at best. Then we have Collaboration. This is also adding a bit more physical damage to your normal attacks, and that's just it. Now at Respect 3 we have Easterling. This is a debuff that is being applied whenever your commander attacks with a normal attack, and then the stats of that unit is getting reduced by a certain percentage. This is the strongest when you are fighting against an army that consists of only 1 unit. If you have maxed it out, it also provides plus 15 might, which is okay, we can work with that. And then to the bottom we have Iron Guard. This is just giving you a 50% chance of reducing incoming physical damage. Great skill overall, but not a core mechanic in her Respect 10 item build. And to the top we have something familiar called Evil Alliance. This is just flat damage mitigation for evil men and orcs by a certain percentage. It counts against all sources of damage, be it physical or elemental. Also great, but not a core part of her Respect 10 skill. At Respect 5 we have Interrogator. This is one of her core abilities. Interrogator is being activated every 3 rounds. This is like a debuff. Whenever one target is receiving Interrogator debuff and is subject to stun or madness, you deal increased damage against that one unit. 100% increased damage if you have maxed this out. Even more so because when you have maxed it out, it scales with speed, which is why you want to have lots of speed as your secondary highest stat. So more than 100% increased damage for 1 round with this skill alone. And this is going to make her very scary. At the bottom we have Restrain. Every 4 rounds you are going to stun 2 enemy units. Unfortunately, this isn't really aligning with her Interrogator. Now that is a pity, but still, stunning 2 units, that is still great. At the top we have Laceration. This is activated every 4 rounds. Let me also read what this does. Like, one target will be inflicted with the bleeding effect, and whenever your bleeding target receives physical damage, it's also receiving additional physical damage over here. And what's great about this is it lasts for 3 rounds. It's going to be active on round 4 and it's going to last until round 7, including round 7. Now, when does this ability shine the most? Whenever you are fighting an enemy army that consists of only 1 unit. Because, as you see, it's going to be active against 1 target, it's going to last for 3 rounds. And if you have 3 units in your army, that means in 1 round, 3 additional sources of physical damage for the 3 rounds this is going to last. So, long story short, Laceration is the strongest when the enemy army has only 1 unit, and Yusraa herself 3 units. Now let me also show you the skill order of Yusraa. It is very important. She is sensitive to her skill order. Big shout out to one of my community members, Lear. He made me pay attention to this. Let's start with Interrogator. This is going to be your first skill. You want to make sure that whatever is affected by stun or madness is getting this damage increase, and only after you want to use all of your damaging abilities you have. So 2 points into this. Then let's also provide some stun. Then we are going to move over to Laceration. So whenever we deal physical damage to the bleeding target, it gets increased physical damage because of this skill. Then we go over to Experienced Warrior, increase our own damage a bit, but that's not the point. The point is we want to have Hunt down. We are still increasing the damage we are going to deal against targets. And then we go over to Easterling, put 1 point here. We are decreasing the stats of that target. And now we are ready to strike with all we have. Now we can put 1 point into Collaboration, because the additional physical damage of Collaboration is going to activate after all these beautiful debuffs have been applied. So this is the right skill order. And now let's just upgrade Interrogator, max it out. And once you are done, you are going to switch over to Restrain and also Laceration. Don't underestimate these skills. These are very important for Yusraa. And then we can come back to Experienced Warrior. What I like to do is go back and forth between Experienced Warrior and Hunt down. Once those 2 skills are upgraded, I would follow up with Collaboration. And then whatever leftover points I have, I would spend into Easterling. Whatever skills I have, I would put into Easterling, max it out, and then I would spend points into Iron Guard and Evil Alliance. But that's basically it. This is your Yusraa. Let me also show you how her skills are going to be active in battle and how they harmonize with each other. Here is a little visualization I have prepared just to show you how Yusraa's sources of damage are harmonizing with each other. So in the first 3 rounds we don't have lots of skills that do the work for us, but that is totally fine. We have a Respect 10 item. I think the special effect of a Respect 10 item is called War Dance, where Evil Man units get a chance of follow-up, and it is a very high chance if you have max refined it. I think it was 90% which is crazy. So follow up on the first 3 rounds, and then, as you see, her bone mask Hysteria is also included within this chart, and it is going to provide a bit of chaos, but above all, we have this effect to enable Interrogator, and this is the main reason we need the bone mask with Hysteria. Interrogator is a debuff that is going to increase the damage the enemy units are going to receive by 100%, but don't forget that Interrogator skates with speed, which means that this isn't just 100% increased damage. In fact, it's going to be something along 150%, like something like that. So that is a lot of damage. As you see, this is what I believe to be her strongest bursty round. War Dance is still being active here, and you get Interrogator proccing along with Hysteria. After round 3, your burst phase has ended. Like, this is what's making Yusraa so strong. But then you need something else to continue doing the damage. Now, on the one side, we have Restrain, which is going to stun 2 units. That is always nice to have, because you need to have your units survive so they can deal damage, right? So this will work in your favor just right. But Laceration, this is another debuff that's going to last for the next 3 rounds, as you see here. The enemy target is going to bleed, and whenever you deal physical damage against that one target, they receive additional physical damage. So this is also a very strong damaging phase for Yusraa and her army. As you see, Hysteria is also accompanying you, providing some chaos. And then on round 9, as you see, Interrogator is proccing a 3rd time, and this time it also aligns with Hysteria. And also the bleeding effect of Laceration is also accompanying you on round 9 and 10. So this is Yusraa in a nutshell and why her skills are so dangerous. Let's round this up by summarizing the strengths and weaknesses of Yusraa. So as you see, she has a strong bursty mechanic because of her Respect 10 item. She gains follow-up for her Evil Man units, so this is the first strength. Her second strength would be her debuffing mechanic Easterling. Now, my Yusraa is only at Respect level 10, and you see I'm already halfway through, but she's a T1 commander, which means you are going to have her at high Respect level very fast, and then you can max out also Easterling. Then we have Restrain. Now this is her third strength, being Army Stun. Not just against one target, but in fact against 2 units, which is why I think this is very strong. Her last strength could be, well, if you have her at Respect level 25, you will have some leftover points, which you can basically spend into Iron Guard and Evil Alliance, which means she has strong damage mitigation for her Evil Man units. Let's also quickly summarize her weaknesses. Well, you know, she has a strong bursty opener, which can also be her weakness, because burst mitigations such as Mithrandir, White Council, Harbinger of Darkness are all mechanics that can mitigate that. Her second weakness is Army Stun and Army Madness, and I think that is kind of obvious. You can't get any benefit out of your follow-up if you are hurting yourself because of Madness, or if you are just sitting there being stunned. Her third weakness would be, since she has the bone mask with Hysteria, and that is enabling her Interrogator, you really need a source of madness. And if the enemy commander has something that is making him immune to madness, like let's say Theoden with the Horseman's Helmet, or with the Cask of Submerged Isle and Aegis, that is a hardcore counter against Yusraa. Her fourth weakness would be Evade. How are you going to deal damage, like follow-up damage, when the enemy is evading? And Gil-galad is going to teach her that lesson. Last but not least, she is kinda weak against elemental damage. Let's assume you have her at Respect level 25, that you have put some points into Iron Guard and Evil Alliance. Well, Evil Alliance will help you against elemental damage, but not Iron Guard. So this is only mitigating physical damage. But I have put this weakness last, it isn't really that important. Take care of the weaknesses I have listed before, they are more important than the last one. Alright, it's time to check out her gear. So I think we don't have to argue about the Respect 10 item. Make sure it is refined at least 4 times, then you're going to feel the power of War Dance. Then, if you're fighting against, let's say, Evil Side, the Fallback with Fire Protection is mandatory. If not, go with Scout's Mail. This has amazing speed stats with the special effect Deftness, and this is going to increase the damage of your Respect 5 title. So, Scout's Mail if you are not fighting Evil Side. And then Bone Mask is mandatory. It has Hysteria. You need Hysteria for your Respect 5 title to work. And then we also have the Drums of Moria. The plus attack is what we are aiming for. Like, you are going to feel the +3 attack and also the plus speed for your Respect 5 title again. And Bane of Dwarfs is just a nice special effect to go along with this accessory. Let's also have a look at Yusraa's golden gear. In regards to her chest pieces, you might argue that the Warborn Battle Plate might be the better defensive option for her, but if you don't want to play it defensively, like with Fortitude of Soldiers, you can also go all in with Berserker's Raiment. It has tons of might, but above all, it has vulnerability, which is going to decrease the defensive stat of the enemy units by a certain percentage for the first 2 rounds, which can be crazy with War Dance. So pick whatever you like, the defensive style or the aggressive style. In regards to her helmet, I haven't listed a golden helmet. I just don't believe that there is something better than the Bone Mask with Hysteria. Hysteria is proccing every other round and is kicking in for her Interrogator. She just needs this. At the bottom we have Fiddle of the Eldest as our accessory. This has also lots of speed for her Respect 5 title, and it has Blitz just to mimic Convener. We already have follow-up like Convener, but 1 additional round. And then if we can provide initiative for first 4 rounds, we also get to hit first. But you might argue that the plus attack of Drums of Moria isn't to be underestimated, especially with Bane of Dwarfs. So I gotta try it out. Maybe one of you guys have a high respect level Yusraa. Have you tried out like the Drums of Moria and compared it with Fiddle of the Eldest with Blitz? What is working out better? Let me know in the comment section below. In regards to Yusraa's army composition, it is straightforward. You want to have a healthy mix between 3 evil man units. That could be halberdiers, for example. That could also be dragoons in your army. Now, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't include corsairs in my army because this isn't harmonizing with Laceration's bleeding effect. You see, they have arson, and arson turns your normal attacks to burn damage, and that doesn't proc the physical damage of the bleeding effect. So ideally, you want 3 evil man units that deal physical damage. So how about including half trolls instead of corsairs? Or if you are playing Angmar or you are in a campaign which is enabling Fallen, definitely go with Fallen. And I think like this army comp is one of her strongest compositions she has for her Respect 10 item in this meta build. You might argue that you may switch these units, like if you were to play with Rune, you could switch out one of your mounted units and go with the chariots. Or let's say you are playing Variax, you can also replace your Fallen with the champions. You should have 3 evil man units that deal physical damage. And there you go. Alright, it's time to have a look at the battle reports. But before I get going, let me give a quick shout out to the following players like Vanzan, King Memo and also Johnny. They were there when I asked for some commanders with good gear. And also shout out to all the other players you are going to see in these battle reports. It was very important to have these testings over here. And now I'm going to share my results with you. So my first fight is against a high respect level Boromir. He has his item unlocked, like his Respect 10 item. But before we check his gear out, let's jump to Yusraa. You see meta build. These are the exact same items I have showed to you at the beginning of this video. Hysteria, Bane of Dwarfs, Deftness, and yeah, the Respect 10 item. So, we are fighting Boromir. Boromir has Cutlass with melee might, Scalemail with Gallant, Cask of Pride with melee suppression, and Horn of Gondor, 3 times refined. So this is a solid Boromir we are fighting against. Let's see what's going on in the overview. So, This is the damage we have done, almost 350k versus only 200k. And here is the detailed view. As you see, Yusraa is dealing a bit of damage herself, and that's going to stack up with her army's damage. And this is the result. Here I am fighting a good geared Galadriel player. My gear again the same, and the spec also the same. This is Galadriel's gear with the Carver and Smite, that makes sense. Plate of the Citadel with Barrier. Swan Helm with Resolve of Man, so she is resisting my Restrained Stun. And also lots of self-sustain with this pipe. So, as you see, this is a good Galadriel. But remember what I said about Laceration being very strong against an army that consists of only one unit? Like, this is the best case scenario for Laceration's bleeding effect. Enemy units, only one, and we have 3 units. We are dealing lots of physical damage with the bleeding effect. Here is the overview. We have done almost 340k damage versus only 100k damage. And then the detailed view. Yusraa herself is dealing also a decent amount of damage, and yeah, this is our army's damage. Here I am fighting Isildur. Let's just immediately jump over to his gear. My gear isn't changing anyway. Mirkwood bow with ranged might, filtered armor with focus protection, Trapper's Suit and Hysteria, Wizard's Fireworks and Hunter's Mark. So this Isildur is also at least at respect level 5, as you see. A great commander, but this is what Yusraa is capable of. The overview says we have done around 250k damage versus around 180k damage. And the detailed view, so in this case Yusraa hasn't done a lot of damage, as you see. Here is a Isildur fight. I'm going to immediately jump over to Isildur's gear. My gear is staying the same. Mirkwood bow with ranged might, Warborn battleplate with Fortitude of Soldiers, Trapper's Suit and Hysteria, Wizard's Fireworks with ranged might. Like, this is a very competitive Isildur, and he has all the necessary skills maxed out. And as you see, this is the outcome. The overview, we have done 300k damage versus 200k damage, and in the detailed view, interesting, so this time Yusraa has done less damage compared to the last report. Now here is a fight against a very strong Theoden. Let me show you. So this Theoden has outstandingly good gear. Reach of the Riddermark with Might of Cavalry. And then Ranger's Shroud with Resistance. Like, I consider these both items best in choice for Theoden. Also this one. Cask of Submerged Isle with Aegis. And he follows up with a Mearas Reins and Might of Cavalry. Maybe, like, the healing effect for his mounted units would have been better. But who am I to talk? This guy has it all. Wow. So strong, Theoden. And also, the skills are correct. I can't complain about that. Let's jump over to the overview. We have done only 150k damage, while Theoden has bursted us with 310k damage. And here is the detailed view. Yeah, that is kind of disappointing. Now, the point I'm trying to prove here is that every commander has a counter. In Yusraa's case, as you see, Theoden is a very strong counter. And it makes sense, right? Because we can't really cast Madness against the enemy units because he is providing immunity with Aegis. Another Theoden fight, but this time something even scarier has happened. So let's check out his gear. Reach of the Riddermark once more, Might of Cavalry, Filtered Armor with Focus Protection, Horseman's Helm with Resolve, and Fiddle of the Elders with Blitz. Also, the talents, the skills are correctly distributed. So, there are a few things that are very scary here, and this Theoden has exploited lots of weaknesses of us. First thing, he has Shire Protectors. These guys have a 50% chance to cleanse Madness from one target. And that already is very huge. Because remember, our Bone Mask has Hysteria. We need to apply Madness for Respect 5 title to give us additional damage. He is taking that away with his Shire Protectors. And also, he is providing hardcore protection against the first 3 rounds Madness procs. So this too is very hardcore against Yusraa. And generally speaking, Theoden's mounted units are going to most likely outspeed your mounted units. Theoden has lots of speed, and also his mounted units with his items, as you see, 157 speed over here, 140 speed over here, and also 140 over here. Like, do we have anything that is outspeeding his mounted units? The Fallen are our fastest units, and not even they outspeed. So Theoden has also the snowballing mechanic on his side. Let's check out the overview. So we have done around 175k damage versus Theoden's 325k-ish damage. That is quite a lot. So here we see the damage of Theoden is so hard that not even our units could deal enough damage. They were killed faster than they could strike back. Another opponent who is very strong against Yusraa is Gil-galad. Now let's see what's going over here. So this is his gear. Elven White Knife with Might of Elves, that is Biz for sure. Ranger's Shroud, Resilience of Archers, and then Trapper Sword with Hysteria, Harp of Lothlorien with Elves Strength. So the army composition makes sense, and as you see his skills, he has high respect level. He put enough points into the important skills to make Gil-galad work, and this is the outcome. He is totally destroying Yusraa. In the overview, we see we have done around 170k-ish damage versus 320k damage. We are getting faster killed than we can even fight back. Like, wow, this is scary. And guys, look at this. I even equipped the Wizard's Fireworks, but it didn't do nothing. Alright, you might argue I could have replaced my half-trolls with Dragoons. Yeah, that makes sense. But still, the point I'm trying to prove is Gil-galad is still going to win that trade-off. Another Gil-galad fight, and here I am fighting this player, Elven White Knife with Might of Elves, High Elf Halberd with Resistance, Hunter's Guide with Discord. Oh wow, this is going to hurt us a lot. We are going to war dance against ourselves. Like, this is a big change. Silver Harp of Rivendell and Might of Elves. So this, wow, like, these are the skills, the talents I would have chosen if I were to main Gil-galad. It makes sense, and this is scary, and this is the outcome. Look at the overview. We have done not even 100k damage, and we have received almost 320k damage. Look at this. We can't even deal damage. Like, this is the scariest report I have seen with Yusraa. Keep in mind that Yusraa, she can get even stronger. I have only refined her weapons 3 times. You should have this at least 4 times refined, and then your reports are going to be more reliable than this. Also keep in mind, like with Variax champions, it's also going to change a lot more. But yeah, this is Yusraa in a nutshell with her meta build. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like and consider subscribing. I see you guys next time.